Ben Bruce wants to speak on the poor, on the impact of the poor. And then Femi Falana will speak. Hold on, please. After that, then the media will now question all of you. But we have to be very, very quick. Thank you. Ben Bruce, please be quick.
You also told me not to scream. I've listened to the two sides of the argument, and because it says I'm speaking for the poor, that was not my intention. I just wanted to use a common sense approach to deal with this very vexing issue. But before I speak, and since I'm limited for time, I'll play you a song that tells us about Nigeria. Go ahead.
Yeah, body bahu. What into them? You mean you know who? I go tell you. That means to say you not there for Nigeria, be that. You see yourself, you not there for Africa at all.
That is where we are today. And I'm glad Sanusi is a leftist and he can understand. Now we have two fundamental problems. Where we are with our economy, no water, no light, no food, no house. And now the distrust between the people and the government. So this one is for Ngozi. I'd like you to play a song for Ngozi. All right. All right. It's for you. So here we have a problem. We've identified the problem of Nigeria. We're 50 years old and we have little of nothing. And I'm not attacking this government. All governments are guilty of this. Now, the people do not trust the government because they do not practice what they preach. They make promises they do not keep. Am I correct? Correct. So we have a fundamental problem. I've listened to the two sides of the argument. So I'm saying, let's make a deal. You want to take away subsidy? You presented convincing arguments why subsidy should be removed. Now let's look at how we can solve our problems, and I'll be quick. As I play the song, so I don't have to explain the economic problems of Nigeria. Now, the biggest problem we have, we've subsidized the rich. How about not subsidizing the disadvantaged? This is my principal position. The rich have been subsidized for 50 years, import duty exemption, $16 billion spent annually, and we are broke. We're fundamentally broke, reserves at $30 billion right now. Now, the biggest problem we have is the transport sector, and they must be subsidized. The average transport fare in Nigeria today is between 15 naira and 19 naira for any individual going to school, going to work, and just trying to make a living. We estimate that Nigerians spend about 30 to 50 billion naira annually just to get around, just ordinary folks trying to get around. All the buses and taxis you use are 25 years old. They give you 5 miles to a gallon. Very inefficient, pollution-laden, not effective to get us around. Terrible means of transportation. And then some people bring in tricycles. I've never understood why anybody would import tricycles, a 100-year-old Indian contraption, out of date, unsafe, unhealthy, to Nigeria. Now, if you bring those tricycles to Nigeria, the minister or the commissioner must ride it himself. You can't bring it for us to ride. You ride it yourself to work. Don't use a 20 million naira SUV and provide tricycles for the rest of us. You can't do that. Okay? You can't do that. Now, if we spend 30 to 50 billion naira a year getting us around, and you double the price of petrol, we will now spend 100 billion. The poor man in the city does not have double what it will cost him to send his child to school. If it costs him 50 naira to send one child to school, 100 naira round trip, he now has to spend 200 naira. The poor man does not have that kind of money. It is impossible. That is not even dream that that's going to happen. Now I want to make a deal. If you want to remove subsidy, go ahead and remove subsidy. But this is what you have to do. You must subsidize the transport sector, 100%. If it costs a parent 50 naira to send a child to school, you give us 50 naira for the difference. We want to pay the old rate So you subsidize us by 33 to 50 billion naira annually. So when they announce April 1st, I don't like that date, let's say April 2nd. When you announce on April 2nd that you're removing subsidy, and the poor people are going to spend 50 billion to get us around, give us 50 billion. So we pay the old rate. The biggest problem we have in Nigeria today, in addition to that, is we don't have a transport policy. The buses and the taxis are rickety, 25-year-old, 5 miles per gallon. If we had a policy, we would only import the most fuel-efficient vehicles in the world. A Prius gets 60 miles a gallon. The car we use gets 5 miles to a gallon. If you use the Prius as taxi, taxi fares could actually drop because you'll be spending only 5% of what it costs today to get you around. If you use fuel-efficient buses, bus fares could actually drop. But for that to happen, I'm making a deal, Ngozi, with you. You are spending 10 billion a year on subsidy. We want $2 billion. We want $500 million to subsidize poor folks trying to go to work and trying to go to school. You pay the difference when you increase your prices. 2, we want a 500 million naira intervention fund, 5% interest for 5 years, so every transporter can buy a bus or a car to fill the void that we need, and we can go green, and we can get energy efficient buses and energy efficient taxis all across the country. $500 million, 5% interest. The money you pay to subsidize transport, pay to the banks, e-ticketing. For instance, if a bus costs 9 million naira, and the guy does 11,000 naira a day, when the price goes up, he'll be doing 22,000 naira a day as income. If you give that bus driver 11,000 naira a day times 30 days, he will have enough money to pay for that new bus he's just acquired. You will create the middle class by converting a bus driver into a bus owner, a taxi driver into a taxi owner. We'll have new buses and new taxis all across the country. We have done a survey. No car company in Nigeria today is concerned about fuel energy efficient vehicles. All we get are junk vehicles that cannot be sold anywhere in the world. Energy inefficient vehicles. The Standard Organization of Nigeria should make it a point that only vehicles that are energy efficient are brought into this country. We also want to ask that the top 5 most energy efficient vehicles in the world are brought into this country duty free, so that the average person can buy those vehicles. The Volt does 100 miles a gallon as an electric car with a backup. You got the Prius, you got the Volt, you got buses can be energy efficient. Everybody needs a car. It's okay. Everybody needs a car. But you can get an energy efficient car. It can get you to your destination at a quarter or 1/10 the price as the jalopies we use today. But the government must give us hope. You give us hope by creating a 500 million intervention fund. Sanusi, you subsidize the rich. Now subsidize regular folks. We want $500 million. We want $500 million for the transport sector. We want another half to subsidize those who go by bus. We want another $500 million for the infrastructure, for the bus stops, for the lanes you have, and for the bus depots. And then finally, we want another $500 million for the trucks. These broken down trucks that destroy all our roads, make it impossible for us to get to point A to B. We want $2 billion every year for 5 years. After the 5th year, go down by 5% for the next 5 years. But the only subsidy you will not take away is $500 million for an average Nigerian to go to work, go to school at the rate he's paying today. If you do that, we have a deal. We'll support deregulation. We'll support subsidy removal. You talked about $16 billion. In 10 years, it will only cost you $500 million a year. Today, it will cost you $2 billion. After 5 years, it will cost you $500 million. Do you think that's a fair deal? You think that's a fair deal? If you give us this deal, we'll be on the streets with you and we'll support subsidy removal. I'm not going to play you any more music, Nduka. My colleague is beside me and he wants me to stop talking. Thank you all very much.